Before we get started on today's episode, I'm going to take a quick second to thank our patrons. In the House of Stone, we have Taylor Fries, Melissa Russell, Liv Matlin, Gabriela Margarita de Jesus, Fighting Chance Studio, Denise Vita, Curly Tail Studio, Krisha Dolan, Aya Kimura-kwan, and Allison Connors. In the House of Flame, we have Spaghetti Sandwich, Pokela, Natalie Curry, Leah Harvell of Queen Amethyst Ceramics, Katie Grant, Julie Sugidono, Francie Dillon, Aaron of Dirty Panda Ceramics, Cynthia Johnson, Corey Little, Cheryl Eisenhower, Celeste Gantz, Amber Costley, Jade Smith, and Birdie Tam. Thank you so much for your patronage. If you haven't joined us already and you'd like to support me, support the Mud Peddlers, and get access to content only patrons can see, you can go to patreon.com/Lindsey M Dillon. And now for this week's blessing/advice. Artifex dormiens nonquam titillandus, or never tickle a sleeping artist. This is The Mud Peddlers, a podcast where two nerdy ceramic artists share the behind the scenes of their worlds of clay. We're your hosts, Lindsey M Dillon.
And I am Donte of Earth Nation.
This week on The Mud Peddlers, we are discussing our experiences at SacAnime Winter 2023.
I haven't been to an anime convention in a while, and I feel like that's the place where I grew my roots at. I was like, well, I made too much crap in ceramics, so I have to sell them somewhere. And I was like, well, I'm most comfortable at an anime convention. Mm-hmm. So I went there, and then after about 3 years of that, people were like, where were you last year?
Dude, yeah, it was like a long ass time that you didn't do the con. So for those who don't know, what made you decide to do one this time?
Long story short, I think it's a lot of work, even though it is in my comfort zone to be here in the studio. And then on top of that was 30% of it. Mm-hmm. On top of that, T-Cozy, the people that I made the avatar cups for, were like, hey, we want to do a table at SacAnime. Will you go with us? And I was like, no, I just did a store update. And they were like, okay. 2 weeks later, they were like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I just did a store update, and it's halfway gone. If I went to an anime convention, I wouldn't have any stock, really. And they're like, oh, okay. 2 weeks later. Okay, so if you don't go, we're not going. Because the table's $600 to buy it. Yeah. And then they're like, we need to split the cost, and we think the teapots and the tea cups you have would go well with our tea selection. Mm-hmm. And after a while, I was like, you know what? F it. I need to reevaluate my schedule anyway for my job. I might as well take time off at the same time. My job knows I do this. They know about the channel. Did not bring as much stock as I wanted to, or as I needed to, rather.
How many pieces did you bring?
Maybe 50.
Okay.
And I walked away with a little below 20. All these on the shelf right here is all I have left.
Oh, okay.
From the con. And
so you sold about 30 or so pieces?
Yeah, I sold about 30. I made out even. I made out okay, but if I had a couple more months, because I had maybe a month from the time that they were like, you got to go to the table with us.
Yeah, and that's not a lot of time.
No, especially, and I don't think a lot of people think about this, but for me who has a YouTube channel, it's different from others with a YouTube channel, because if you're watching someone like Markiplier, who's a gamer, he's just got to talk to a camera, play a video game, and make a couple wacky sounds, and then he has an editor that edits it, and it goes out 1 or 2 the same day. Yeah. But if you want to see a cup from start to finish, I have to make the cup, and then I have to wait for it to dry, and that's multiple days in and of itself. Mm-hmm. And then I have to biscuit, and that's another day and a half, and then I have to glaze it, and that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're in addition to having to get ready for the con, you're also just doing your normal YouTube video prep work, which takes a lot of time as well.
Yeah, exactly. You did well at the con, yeah? You did really good at the con. Yeah.
This year was so good, dude.
I know.
Okay,
Lindsey had 2 tables because they accidentally stuck her in a spot that was so inconvenient.
Okay,
they were like,
let me tell the story. Okay, all right. So there's a little bit of backstory to this.
I'm listening.
Okay, so for those of you who have been following me for a bit, you might know that. Okay, yeah, I used to do Artist Alley at SacAnime and at Fanime before as well.
Yes.
And then somebody new took over the SacAnime Artist Alley and vendor hall kind of situation.
Right.
And they basically made it so that within vendor hall there was a sort of a section for artists who were too big for Artist Alley, but weren't vendors in the sense where it's like they're mass producing like plushies or things like that.
I have a question about that actually.
Yeah.
So the room that we were in, that was a mixed bag of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The room that they're within SacAnime, they're like Artist Alley, vendor hall, and like everything is all within one room. They're just organized into different spaces.
Yes.
Yeah, within the same room. So this was the first year that I decided to do that sort of halfway. I think they call it like exhibiting artist or something like that, where it's like not Artist Alley, not vendor hall, but you're sort of in between.
It's like a bag of M&Ms.
Yeah.
Because everybody's in there.
You still pay the same, from what I understand, vendors and the exhibiting artists still pay the same fee.
Mm-hmm.
So Artist Alley, I believe, is like now it's like $250. Vendor hall, I paid for my spot, which is not a corner spot, $650. But what was different about this time, which is what you were just talking about, is that so when I got there, so when they sent out the booth like assignments, I saw that I had a column in my space, and I went, okay, well, it should be fine. Yeah, like I'll work around it. When I actually got there, I saw that between the column itself, the fire extinguisher, and then the room that the fire extinguisher needed to like be within like legal parameters, literally like half my booth was taken up. And at first I was like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I won't say anything. And then I was like, no, what? Screw it. Like, I'm paying a lot of money for this. Like, so fortunately, I went up, I talked to the folks. I was like, hey, I have the column in my space. What can be done about this? And it turned out that they always have like a dead space, like a space with no other artists, right next to, like right on the other side of the column.
Yes.
So they were like, why don't you go and expand? You can share that second table with your neighbor. And then the next day when I talked to the neighbors, they're like, yeah, you can go ahead. So I basically, because of that column, I ended up having 2 full, like 10-foot long tables.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Like I brought enough stuff. Like I think between about half my stuff was, or maybe a little less than half was like my first, like pieces that I'd made between the last SacAnime and this SacAnime. But then as I was getting stuff ready, I was like, okay, well, I can bring, I'll bring some, sorry, I know I'm just like going off for this. Like I'm storytelling right now.
I'm not good at words and you're better, so that I'd much rather hear you ramble than I.
All right, no, we're good. I love hearing your rambles. I think we have a good mix. But anyway, as I was packing things up for SacAnime earlier this, the past week before the actual convention started, I realized that I had so many seconds, which is, I had originally been planning to sell my seconds, like since I had to cancel the in-person.
You had a seconds
sale.
table, and then you were like, nah.
Well, yeah, and so I basically combined it all. So I had probably, I didn't actually do a final count, but it was between like 250 and 275 pieces.
Okay.
And by the time I left the con on Sunday, I had maybe 50 pieces left. Between 30 and 50 pieces, yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of numbers, like...
You did great, and you were selling your stuff for like minimum 45 each, right?
No,
your steins were like...
The regular prices, so not the seconds, my teacups were $35.
Okay.
My mugs were $45. My steins were $55, and my goblets were $65. And I kept my goblets with the handles the same price as the goblets without the handles because I wanted to see whether people were drawn to like one style or the other, like regardless of price.
Yes.
But then all of my seconds were basically discounted like $6. So if it was like $35 for a teacup. If it was a second, it was $29.
I see.
And then $35, 20. Anyway, or $45, $39, etc., etc.
No, I learned a bit about pricing too. This. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Yeah. All right. So this is just like the big dump summary. So okay. So in terms of numbers, I walked away with about 11,000.
Woo!
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I walked away with like 2.
Oh my God, 2,000?
Yeah, it's because like by the end of the con, I was like, I ain't got no more to sell.
Yeah, well, honestly, like my actually bringing enough, I could see the difference between selling out on Saturday, which is what I have done basically every other time.
Yes.
And then actually having enough stuff to sell on Sunday.
Yes.
Like easily and probably 5,000 on Sunday. I have to look at the numbers to break it down, but yeah.
I wasn't there on Sunday. I only went Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
And then most of my sales were on Saturday. But like Friday, the people that I was with were like panicking, and I was like, it's gonna get worse, so don't panic now.
Oh my God.
I want you to know that.
Yes. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about like what the experience was like for you.
So Tea Cozy, they set me up with a person I don't want to say her name.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
nice,
that's fine.
very nice lady, right?
Yeah.
She works for the company Tea Cozy, and she was like, the person who owns it was like, I won't be there, but my employee will be there.
Right.
She'll go with you. And then she basically had an intern, so she was there as well. And they did most of the socializing for me.
That's really nice.
I edited so much. I actually called an old editor friend of mine. I called Quack.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I'm about to send you like 6 things to edit, and I'll pay you like $100 whatever, and I'll play video games with you. She likes that. And I was like, I just need help editing these videos.
Yeah.
I did all that work myself on those 2 days.
Oh, dang. Wait, so you brought your computer?
I brought my computer. I brought a backup power cell.
Nice.
I'd say the only negative experience that I had, it wasn't really negative, it was just greenhorns, was that like
Greenhorns?
people who are new to something.
Oh,
like newbies, right?
Okay, yeah.
But like, it's not to say that they're bad, it's just to say they're inexperienced.
Right.
Is that was their first con.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was like, what's the Wi-Fi? We should pay for electricity so we can have heat, so we can have tea. I brought a hot water kettle.
Yeah.
I brought like my own little hotspot, which didn't work, by the way.
Oh, God,
I didn't get to scope out the area, so like we had bad cell phone reception, but they had the right carriers. We had a bunch of stuff fall through.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, I thought you guys had it, and the stuff they didn't have, I had.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, honestly, I mean, that's part of the reason I'm doing
yeah.
I'm doing like my, again, another shout out for Ceramicon. It's like,
Yeah.
that's my topic is like how to prepare to like sell at your first event and like how to talk about your art. So, cause yeah, there's so many things that you may not think of. And again, a con is can be its own little special beast because of things like being in a giant concrete building and having no reception and like,
Oh my God,
and then
that was
the
a
Wi-Fi
huge-
not working and just like.
One of the worst things for me is that you were in a spot that was next to the door, so your service worked.
No, I did not have any service.
It didn't work?
No, I had one transaction go through on card
Yeah.
on Friday morning, and then after that, no card transactions went
I
through.
noticed that.
Yeah.
Mine was okay Friday morning too, and I think it was because of the cell phone interference. I think there were so many bodies there that like I couldn't get a signal. But I was also next to a double insulated wall. So your wall was like you open the door and there's the outside. My wall was you open the door and there's
There's a whole other room.
Whole room.
Yeah.
And I think they knew this. The place it's called Safe Credit Union. The place that the convention center's in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Because I was like, hey, is there any Wi-Fi? I asked them, and they're like, oh, you can pay the place.
Yeah.
And it was like $80 a day for Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And when they say a day, they mean a day. They don't mean 24 hours. They mean like tomorrow morning you won't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Is what they mean.
Yeah.
And then you can pay for 3 days, and that was like $200 something in a package. It was awful.
Yeah.
I talked to my buddy, and he was like, here's what I need you to do for next time. I need you to buy this cell phone and this cell phone plan. Don't connect it to like an actual number. Just buy the data. This is going to give you 15 gigs of 5G Wi-Fi for 30 days. You pay it when you go to a con. It penetrates anything. It's Verizon. He's like, I've always trusted them. I used to work for them. He's like, but even like, you could buy a little Wi-Fi router and pay them like $80 or whatever.
Yeah.
He goes, even those give you like 8 gigs of 4G. He goes, just buy this cell phone. It's a burner Wi-Fi phone.
Interesting.
That's the lesson that I learned.
Okay.
Was that like I'm bringing my own Wi-Fi next time?
Yeah, I actually that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, like that's what other people did as well. Like, seems like some of the other vendors had like another artist had like the like little personal Wi-Fi hotspot things.
Yes.
And I was talking to one vendor, and I can't remember the brand that they were talking about, but it was basically like you basically pay for like what you use.
Yes.
And it wasn't like a cell phone; it was like a little router thing. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna for next con I gotta figure that out because I mean, fortunately, between Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, and cash,
yes,
like I think I only lost 2 sales.
I lost 1 as well.
Okay, yeah.
And then I was, you know me, as soon as I lose 1, I'm like, that's not happening to me again.
Right.
That's not happening. So I like fixed it immediately. I bought the Wi-Fi.
There you go.
And then after that, I was like obsessing all night. How can I make sure this never happens to me again?
Yeah.
Like I will not be caught with my pants down again.
Yeah.
And I talked to my tech friend, and he was like, don't buy those Wi-Fi hotspots. Buy a phone that gives you Wi-Fi hotspot.
Oh, okay.
They generally have better stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do that. But that was a big lesson for me. It was like, that's also a thing that we usually do during conventions anyway. Because like you don't have reliable Wi-Fi if you just go to the con without being a seller.
I mean, I don't. Like, I mean, when I go to like cons, I'm just like, well, if we don't have reception, like we'll meet back at this time, do like the old fashioned way. But
I got to play Pokemon Go as I walk around.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's no way. Pokemon Go, Destiny, Minecraft, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had, with the folks at Tea Cozy basically taking care of the socialization for you, like, did you do much talking to people? And, like, what was that like? Because, like, I know we've talked about before.
Oh, man.
How one of the things that keeps you from going to cons is that, like, it takes a lot of emotional energy for you to be, like, interacting with that many people. So what was that like since you had a bit of a buffer?
I tried to pamper them as much as possible because I realized that pamper the people that were there with me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Selling. I don't want to say their names, but also,
no, that's fine. Yeah, we know the folks from Tea Cozy.
Yeah, the folks from Tea Cozy. So, like, I made them food. You know me, I'm a chef. So, like, I was like, here's your food.
Yeah.
I have backup food. I have backup electricity. If you need any bag space, if you need me to go get anything, if you want to go to the bathroom, let me know. I will take care of all of that. Mm-hmm. If you want me to lift anything, I will do it. And I was like, but I'm not talking to people.
Yeah.
You know?
You did end up talking to some people, because you told me some stories.
There was one guy I ended up talking to, and I ended up dropping my mask real hard.
Oh, God.
And his son, like, laughed at him, and he was like, he got angry. Oh. But not mad to, like, go off me. He just left.
Yeah.
But a lot of my interactions were essentially, people would touch the stuff and they would look at me, and then I would notice they were kind of looking at me like, did you make this? And I would go, it's okay, you can touch them. And then they go, okay, good.
Oh, yes.
And then they would touch them. And then, you know, if they touch them, there's a higher chance of them buying them.
Yeah.
And they would ask me questions. One person, I don't know their name. One person actually came up and was like, hi, Donte! And I was like, oh, who is you? You know? And she was like, don't worry, I got permission from Lindsey to talk to you.
Oh my gosh! Yes!
I don't.
That was Julie!
Yeah, thank you, Julie. I remember it was Julie because she has the same name as my sous chef.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And she was just like, yeah, she chatted it up for a second, and she was like, I want to get a mug. And then, we're chatting it up for a bit, and she was like, I'm not getting something blue. And I was like, wow, y'all really be listening to the podcast.
She knows.
And so I picked up.
She's a patron, too. Like, again, you know, Julie, if you're listening to this, like, thank you.
What's good, YouTube? Sorry. And so I picked up this mug, and it was a beautiful mug. I know I made it. I know I'm stroking myself off. But it was bee mixed with no grog in it. It was a new combination of Randy's Red with yellow iron oxide and G200 feldspar instead of Minspar. And it also was a new glaze layered on top of it that I have on my glazy profile called Angemon. You can, and it's gorgeous.
Sounds like a Pokemon.
It is a Digimon, to be fair.
Yeah,
you got it right. And I just made that glaze. The recipe is up on Glazy, but I was so happy that she got it because I was like, please buy this. Like, if you really like me and my work, this is for you.
Aww.
Like, this is a new mug. No, like, there's no other combination that I have right now. I'm gonna put it on the internet in like 5 days. No one has seen it yet, so she's probably at home sipping on it.
Oh, that's great.
It had great organic texture. I'm way more happy for someone to buy my work that knows about me and can appreciate the hard work I put into making the glazes than someone who's just like, oh, I like red, and grabs it. They're both the same amount of money, granted, and I'm not going to judge you for it, but I just appreciate that it's going to a good home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that. I mean...
There's a connection with the mug now.
It feels really special. Like, I think, like, I don't know, what that kind of makes me think of is, like, how many people over this last con came up to me and were like, hey, and it's like, and I finally began, like, again, my brain started working for me, and I, like, actually recognize these people. I'm like, yes, I met you before, I met you at this last con, and it was like, it feels really special when people come up and are like, hey, like, I came directly to your table because, like, I wanted to say hi and, you know, maybe pick up. And again, for me, it's, like, even less about them buying, like, another mug because, honestly, if somebody buys even just one, I'm like, oh my God, thank you.
Also, if they don't buy it, you're like, someone else will.
Yeah,
like,
it's like, I'm not stressing about it. But it does feel really good to, like, you know, for me at least, like, I've been, between last September SacAnime and then the couple that I've done before, like, actually beginning to feel like, oh yeah, it's like I've got, like, you know, my people are here. The people that, like, I know. And it's like, again, I may not remember everybody's names because I'm really bad with names, but it feels really cool. Like,
I remember the mugs they buy more than the names.
Oh.
Don't you?
No.
Oh my God.
I try and remember as best I can, but, like, he was just so busy. And it's like, okay, so that actually reminds me of something else that was, like, different about this con that made a huge difference is I actually had people helping me this time.
Really? Oh yes, you had that one lady at your table.
Yes. So Friday Friday, I didn't have anybody like helping me sell stuff directly, or it's like, you know, maybe they'd help for like 5 minutes or so, because I ended up having like between Cody, my friend Peter, my friend Chris, and Shannon on Friday, like a few of them came and like, you know, hung out at the booth for a few minutes just to kind of catch their breath.
Yeah.
But then Saturday, my friend Shannon came and helped me all day. And then Sunday, my friends Brandon and Peter helped me all day as well.
You know a lot of dins. You know a lot of ins.
I do a lot of ins, yes.
A lot of ins.
Yeah. So Shannon, I had planned on having her come and help me. Like, I asked her about a week before because, okay, so let me think. So the last con... Sorry, my brain's scrambling.
No, take your time.
So I did have someone help me on Sunday, I think it was, or maybe it was Saturday.
No, you had Shannon Saturday.
No, I was going to say last con.
Oh, okay.
So this wasn't the very first con where somebody helped me, but this is the first con where I had someone basically there all weekend, because my friend Jordan helped me last September at the September SacAnime, and I was like, wow, this is actually really nice. And so that made me go like, okay, yes, I do want to have more help. So between Shannon, Brandon, and Peter, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It made like, I would not have been able to, I would have been way more exhausted, and I would not have been able to make the same sales, because with that column in the middle and then the table so long, and I had so much inventory that like I can't, and I'm definitely gonna keep, you know, as long as they want more help. But Peter and Brandon, it was super last minute. Like, basically I was hanging out with them on Saturday, or Brandon came over on Saturday and he was like, hey, like, do you want help for tomorrow? And I'm like,
it's also a free ticket for them, really.
Yeah.
I had my friend Howie come over, and he's like, well, I'll help you, and here's my Wi-Fi hotspot, which is how I got my thing started. And then he was like, but like, do you have an assistant badge? I said, yeah, I always pay for an extra badge just in case somebody wants to come and help. But he was like, okay, I'm going to go enjoy the con. Yeah. Here's my Wi-Fi. And I was like, that works out for me.
Hell yeah.
That works out for me.
Yeah. No, it's definitely like, I feel like that's some of the perks of like getting, like, if you have someone to help, that's part of the thing. It's like, hey, help me out a bit, like, do some stuff, and then you'll also get to walk around the con. Yeah. And then I'll get to sit down and eat and take a little bit of a break from socializing.
I get to do the human things.
You get to do the human things. Yeah. Because, like, last September, I was so freaking dead. Yeah. I like, by Sunday, having to pack up, and it was so busy and everything, I was just like, oh my God, how am I going to keep doing this?
Well, it pulls your attention too. Like, most of the time when I was at the table, the person that was helping me at the table, not Howie, the people who work for Tea Cozy. Were just like, hey, these are our teas. All the ceramics are made by Donte. He makes his own glazes, makes his own pots. They're all handmade. If you have any questions, ask him. And then would look at me, and I'd be like, any questions you have, just ask me. And then I'd go back to editing. I would make eye contact, say one sentence, but the people I was with at Tea Cozy would do most of the intro work. Yes. And then once they made eye contact with me, there's also, I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's also this weird, I don't want to call it a stigma, but perception that, and I guess it's not really perception, this might be statistically true, but I don't have the statistics to back it up, that women often there are far more female artists in the world than male artists. And so strangely enough, whenever people come up to a table and I leave like my wife at the table, or like the people who are both female who are helping me at the table from Tea Cozy, people would assume like, oh, you clearly made these.
Yeah, right.
These are you, right? Like, you're, right? And then they would look at me, this grunting thing in the corner editing video, and they'd be like, actually, that's him. And and they'd be like, oh, that guy's gross though. I know I've mentioned this before, but I get especially happy when people are like, oh, like, did you make all these? Like, even the sculptures? And I'm like, the sculptures, like, because, again, like, another stereotype that I think of, and obviously this is not everyone, this is probably my own bias more than anything else, but I tend to associate feminine ceramics with like round shapes and like, just kind of like a different vibe. Yes. And that's like not really what my work is. So, and again, not that there's anything, God, I freaking love that cute because I want it in my house. But anyway, that's just not the kind of work that I do. Yes. So so it's kind of fun when people are like surprised to, see who it is. But do you think you're gonna do full tables again? I'm gonna go back to SacAnime Summer. I already paid for and have my table.
Oh, you got your own table?
Yeah, no. Well, not my own table. But basically, the person who runs Tea Cozy was like, we made a lot of money just with you being next to us.
Oh, okay.
They were like, will you go again? And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll get more work done.
Okay.
It's in like 5 months. I have plenty of prep time, but now I know, like, all my Avatar stuff sold out like the second day.
Nice.
All of it gone. And then my mugs that I assume people listening to us now are more familiar with, would buy them more. They weren't there, right? So, like, I sold maybe like 5 real mugs, and the rest of them were all just me selling anime nerds their nostalgia on a cup.
Yes.
I know that sounds crude, but that is what was going on.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, though. I mean, like, that's why, like...
That's why we have the con.
Yeah, that's why we have the con, because it's like, we want to buy things. Like, we want to buy our nerd shit.
Well, now my mentality is, like, as soon as I get back from the con, I'm making 5 of each element of these teacups. I'm making 2 teapots. I'm going to make one that looks like Uncle Iroh's teapot. Like, and I'm going to make tumblers, and the tumblers are going to have Avatar symbols on them.
Yeah.
I might have some Zelda symbols. You know, I'm going to start making more nerd stuff.
Yeah.
So it's going to be stuff specifically for this con.
SacAnime, yeah.
As opposed to being like, like the Dungeon Master mugs sold out first day. And I was like, well, I only had 3 of those. I have to make more.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking, like, I got to make like 5 of those at least.
Yeah. I was actually surprised that certain things sold differently this time than last time. Like, for myself, for like looking at the things that sold.
Yeah.
Because, so last time I had a bunch of like teacups and not as many goblets and steins. So the goblets, and I didn't make any mugs, like mugs in terms of like...
Regular, like smaller than steins.
Smaller than steins, not goblets.
Bigger than teacups.
Yeah, but like basically teacup with a handle mug, yeah.
What we're doing now here is...
Right.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So I didn't have any mugs last September, but I had goblets, some steins, and then a bunch of teacups. Goblets and steins sold out first.
Yeah.
So I made like a bunch more this time in addition to a bunch of mugs. And part of the reason I did that is because I did an Instagram poll and I was like, hey, what kind of mug are you, or what kind of cup, whatever, are you most interested in purchasing? And most, like, between teacups, mugs, goblets, and steins, mugs were the most popular. So I'm like, all right, like, I'll make a bunch more mugs. And inevitably, those were the ones that sold out. Now, I tried to have a relatively even balance. So, like, between the goblets, steins, and mugs. So I don't have the exact numbers, so this is a little bit of just like my sense of things. But in terms of what I have left over, it's a lot of goblets. And I'm curious why that is. Like, you know, I mean, they were the most expensive items.
They're interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, I had them that's those are the ones that I had the most left of.
Oh.
Yes.
I can't believe these internet hoes.
Oh my god.
I can't believe these internet hoes.
No. I mean, I did. Like, they were right.
Oh, I see. Okay. I thought you meant like you took a poll, they said they wanted the thing, and then when it came down to it, they were like, I don't want to buy it, I just want you to make it.
No. They did. Like,
okay,
most people, like, the mugs completely sold out. I had some teacups left over, and I had some... I think I had just maybe a couple goblets left, or maybe a couple steins left over, but a lot of leftover, or not a lot, but, you know, proportionally the most number of leftover goblets. And then one of my friends who was helping me was like, yeah, it kind of seemed like, you know, when people would pick up and look at the price, that was like the most surprised look they got on their faces when they saw this and went, oh, 65. So maybe like price wise, that was part of it too. Oh, that's also something I did differently this time. So normally I list out my prices on little pieces of paper that I kind of leave, you know, strategically placed along my display.
Right.
But this time around, because I was having a lot of seconds, I put the price tag on the bottom, basically as like a little sticker.
I see.
Took a bunch of more prep time, but it was kind of nice to be able to just say, like, oh yeah, like everything's marked on the bottom. It ranges between like 35 and 65. It was a lot easier than saying like, oh yeah, teacups are 35, mugs are 45, steins are 55. You know, I was like listing it all out. So that's one thing, even though the prep time took longer to put the stickers on the bottom of everything, I think that's something I'm going to keep doing because it did make describing pricing easier. Just like, oh yeah, price is on the bottom of the cup.
One thing that I started to do is I XNA'd all the business cards. I don't have any more business cards. I just put a little QR code on this little blackboard next to a sign that says like scan for all socials. Oh, and so anyone who's like, do you have a business card? Because I know, listen to me. I know what you do. You go to a con, you pick up the business card, and you like get home and you take your pants off, you wear them the next day over the week, and then like 3 days later you're like, what's this piece of paper in my pocket? You pick it up and you're like, oh, yeah, that's from that con, and you throw it away, and you waste the paper and the effort and the money that I spent. So what I've started to do is I started to use QR codes, so people are, firstly, it's not a waste of paper and resources and money. I just have that forever. As long as I can print the sticker, I have it. Yeah. Secondly, it forces them to look me dead in the eye, and when I go, scan that, and that's on my socials, and they have one of two choices. They either scan it, or they're like, no, I'm good. And that just settles it right there. You know?
Okay.
They're either like, I don't want to scan it, I was just asking to be polite. Or I'm like, it's right there. If you feel like scanning it, go ahead. If not, it's whatever. All of my socials, my YouTube, my Instagram, my Twitter, my Glazy profile, my blog, like everything is up there. And they go, oh, I can find all of you in this one place. Scan, done. But business cards remind them later, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna push back on that a little bit because the thing is, like, okay.
You're allowed to be wrong, yeah.
Okay. Oh my god. Oh,
yeah, no, it's fine.
Throwing some shade there, Donte.
I'm sorry. I do that a lot lately.
It's okay. I'm a shady person.
Okay.
Oh my god. I just thought of some Skyrim stuff because I've been playing that almost exclusively since I got back from the con. But I think I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna have the QR codes and I'm gonna have business cards. And I know yes.
Oh my god.
And I know I said I was gonna do business cards for the winter SacAnime, and then I just didn't order them in time, so I had to just still stick with the QR code.
Yeah.
But part of the reason I think it's good to have both is that some people really do like having that reminder, because I mean, as for myself, what I will often do is I'll, like, because things are so busy during the con itself, if I'm like an attendee, is I'll, again, collect the business cards, and then I'll go back once I get home after the con, look through them all, and then follow the people that I want to follow. Yeah. So it is nice to have something that people can take away with them, because it is a reminder. If people just scan it, they might lose it later. They might not or also, again, because the internet's so bad, the code just might not load.
That actually happened to a lot of people, is they were like, my phone's not working.
Yeah.
What they did in that case, they just took a picture of the QR code.
Yeah.
And I was like...
And it works, but it's like, in terms of barriers to people finding you, like, sometimes the QR code is easier, but I think a lot of people do still like business cards. So I'm gonna do both. I like the QR code for the people that works for, but yeah.
What I'll also be doing is I will have a second chalkboard for summer with all the prices on them. Because it's not like I have more than 5 types of products. I have like teacups, mugs, teapots, jars, bowls, and then I'll just have the prices, and then I'll have the specials. So if I have a bowl that's like $40, it'll be like 2 for $70 or whatever. I'll just have that. That way I don't have to do all the talking. If they're like, oh, how much is this? I just point at the sign and go back to what I was doing.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So basically you're up for doing cons again when you have people there to basically do most of the talking for you. Yeah, because and I'm not saying that as in like a shade thing.
No, you're
like
fine.
That's just like legit, because I feel that, like.
Yeah, no, 100%, and it's very like, in my mind, I'm doing a lot of waiting for people to interact with me. Yeah. And I'm almost never going to engage first. And so I'm like just waiting there, and all that waiting time for me, in my mind, as like someone who is a workaholic damn near, is like, I could be doing anything else. I was scouring Glazy through the internet. Yeah. I was like, I could do anything else. Yeah. You know what I mean? And granted, I'm super new to the chemistry thing as far as Glazy goes. So I'm just trying to learn and soak up as much as I can. Yeah. So it's like, while I was there, I was like, I could be on Glazy right now. I could be doing anything. Yeah. Except for waiting for people to talk to me, which is my least favorite thing to do in the world anyway. Yeah. See,
I like bypassing that by being the first one to talk, because because I hate
you monster.
I get so, like, weirdly enough, when I'm a con attendee, the social anxiety comes out, because there's this weird, like, how much do I talk? Like, should I say something? I want to look at your stuff, but you're just staring at me. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to be stared at. So it's like, so what I like to do, and again, you know this, I've said this before, and if you came to the con, you saw me do this, but like, I like breaking that awkward thing where it's like someone's kind of interested, but no words have been exchanged. Yes. I like breaking that awkwardness by saying, like, hey, just so you know, you're more than welcome to pick up and hold any of the mugs. Give me a holler if you have any questions.
You say it so much nicer than me. If they give me that energy, I just go, you can touch them, it's okay. I'll make more. And they go, haha, and then I go back to what I was saying. Yeah.
I mean, we have different communication styles. Like, that's just, that's fine. Like that.
I'm not good with words.
Like, I just like being the first one to break that awkwardness, because that awkward silence just hurts me, or like, it makes me feel really uncomfortable. So I'm like, I'm gonna just say the thing, and then I'm gonna be like available. Yeah. Like, I just kind of stand in the back, and I like, I'll kind of like, I'll face my body slightly away from the people.
Yeah, I don't want to be facing them by my shit. No. So I generally make sure they're in eye contact. But like, I want to ignore them.
You want to give them space. Yeah. Give them space. Like, my thing is, like, I want to give people space, but make it seem like if they have a question for me, they're not interrupting me.
Yes.
Which is part of the reason why, like, for me, I wouldn't, for my style of boothing, I wouldn't be on my computer, because in my mind, if someone's on their computer, that's like a don't interrupt type of situation.
It's true, it is.
So, but if that's for you, then that's cool, because then you don't want to be interrupted. You don't want to have to talk to people.
I had a big old jacket on,
like,
and I was laid back. And like the boss of Tea Cozy called the employees and was like, "How's everything?" And she's like, "We're actually selling out of tea." And she's like, "How's Donte?" And she's like, looked over at me, and I'm just like, chill back. My mouse is on my leg, and my left hand is like on the editing button. You know what I mean? On the computer. And then like YouTube is going on my phone, and I'm doing 3 at once. And she was like, "Dante's chilling." Yeah. She was like, "Donte ate like most of the food he brought. He's good. Yeah. He's fine." But I think I realized I was, I'm kind of a dad. You know what I mean? Like, what do you need? Do you want coffee? Do you want food? Do you want this? Can I do anything for you? Like, what do you need? I can physically do it as long as you tell me and give me consent that you need it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I was very like, one of them was like that as well. So I was like, "I made you extra breakfast." And she's like, "I made that for you too."
Oh, that's so sweet.
She's like, "I have extra fruit." Oh. Like, it's not for you, but like I made extra. You
some for people to have. Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh. Well, what do I do?" Like, now I gotta eat this?
That's great though.
No, they were cool. Yeah. You know what I love? Is one person always comes up to the table that used to or still does ceramics.
Oh, yeah?
And they're always like, "Oh, these are handmade."
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, what cone is this? Oh my God, yada, yada." You know what I mean? And I have to be like, yeah, I make them myself. And then, yeah. You have an in-depth conversation.
Yeah.
And that person I engage with.
Oh, okay.
I just saw, there's Instagram pages. One is called Ceramameme.
Oh, yeah.
Cerameme. And one's called Gay for Clay.
Oh, yes. I follow Gay for Clay.
I love both of them. And one of them just posted this old man, like, his arms crossed. And it says like antisocial but willing to interact if talk about clay. Oh yes, I saw that post. Yeah, I was like, that was me.
That was great.
Yeah,
that was great.
Don't want to talk to you, but if you talk about clay, I'll talk to you.
I'll talk to you about clay.
And there's one person who came up who was very like, "Oh yeah. What kind of clay is?" She even noticed the dragon fruit clay from Imco. Oh. She was like, "I've never seen this clay body." And I was like, "It's from Imco. It's dragon fruit. I'm pretty sure it's just porcelain with extra in it." And it was great. It was fantastic. I also got a rude guy.
Oh my gosh.
But he wasn't, I don't think he was means to be rude. I think he was just phrased it incorrectly. So everyone at the table looked at him like, "Ugh, butthole."
Oh, what happened?
I was editing video and this guy must have been 40 something. And his son came up to the table and he picked it up and he goes, "What's so special about this?"
Oh God.
And at that point, I took it as like a rude comment. Yeah. So I went directly from editing to like, I'm gonna be rude back now, and you're gonna know why, because you said it like that. So I turn and I go, "Oh, you want me to convince you to buy it?" And he goes, "No, that's not what I said." And I said, "Do you actually want to know what's special about it, and you're willing to like listen to why, or do you want me to just convince you that you need it?" And his son looked at him like, "Oh, I've never seen anyone talk to you like that."
Oh my God.
And he goes, "No, seriously, what's so special about it?" And I said, "Well, it is handmade. You're never going to see that clay anywhere else in the rest of your life. That is a dragon fruit clay body. Secondly, I make the glazes myself. I'm not very good at the chemistry, but I'm good enough to make my own glazes and make sure they're food safe. They're all handmade, and most of them have Avatar symbols on them. If you're not a fan of Avatar, you won't know what they mean, but if you are, you probably know what they do by this point. So I'm not going to explain it to you." And he goes, "Do they stay hotter than longer ceramics?" And I said, "Well, that's not really a ceramic question. That's more of like a heat question. For example, if you live in Sacramento right now and you took it outside and I said it stays hot for 20 minutes, you can't be like, 'Donte said it stays hot for an hour.'" And you're outside in the storm that is Sacramento right now. But if you lived in Texas, I'm sure you're going to be a little okay in the summer. It's going to stay hot for longer. Yeah. And he goes, "Well, I live in Sacramento." And I was like, "Okay, well, it's not going to stay hot too long because it's storming and cold outside." And we just looked at each other for a while. And I was like, "If you want it to stay hot longer, just buy a teacup with a lid on it. I made them just for that." Yeah. And he puts it down and walks away. And his son looks at me like,
"Oh my God. Oh my God."
He walked away and Linda looks at me and goes like, "That was a rude question." Yeah. Like, wow, so rude. And I was like, I get one every table. Yeah. Every table I get one person who has nothing to do with ceramics but wants to know why ceramics is expensive and
Yeah, and there's a way, like it's kind of hard to know. It's like, okay, there's a way to ask that in a way where like they're genuinely curious, and again, like
And that wasn't it.
Yeah,
that just wasn't
yeah, and that's rough.
That's what I was talking about that last episode where I was like, I don't like socializing because there's a point in which I just drop my facade of being nice and cordial, and I just go, I don't like you, and you know I don't like you, and you know exactly why.
Yeah.
You said something that was offensive on purpose, and I'm not. You can't clutch your pearls after you were the one to engage for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to leave room for the idea that someone's, maybe again, since can be socially awkward myself, like maybe that person genuinely did not mean that to be a rude question.
Yeah.
I like leaving room for that, but I also tend to sometimes, again, I am, raised as a woman in this environment, and so if someone was to ask a awkward question, my response is probably just to laugh.
Yeah.
Like, well, and then tell you why it's so special, but then it's just like, oh my god. So anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is that that's something that I always my default is to stay friendly, just because that's kind of how I was raised to just deal with situations.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people just don't know how to ask things in a way that conveys the intent behind their question, and sometimes people are just rude.
I like to imagine he went to every table and was like, what's so special about this? It's just a guy in different clothes. You know what I mean? That's called cosplay. It takes a lot of hard work and effort to put up this illusion that has a culture to it, and everything's like, just a wig.
Yeah.
Like, what's his name from American Dad? Stan the Man.
Oh, yeah.
He gave off very Stan the Man vibes.
Gotcha.
Where he's like, I hate this because it's different and I don't know about it. And then he gets a whole episode of him immersing himself in the culture, and he's like, I love anime.
Oh.
That's what I imagine he was like.
I love that.
Yeah.
I have a really sweet story to counteract that little sour story.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me.
So there's this very kind person named Lizzie.
Okay.
And I hope she's listening to this right now. Okay, so I think it was on Friday. She came by, said hi, and we chatted for a little bit, and it was awesome. And then she came back and brought me an orange juice and fruit snack.
That's so nice.
Super nice. And then on Saturday, she came back and brought more fruit snacks. And she was like, I literally have a whole box. I can bring them tomorrow. And I just kind of laughed, and I was like, well, I wouldn't say no, not thinking that she was actually going to bring. And then she brought me a box of fruit snacks, and it was amazing. And I ate them all day on Sunday. And then on Monday, I ate them too. And I've actually brought some here if you want some fruit snacks.
Me and you is different. Because the first day they would have brought me food, and I would have been like, oh, thanks. And I would have been friends. Because it's a nice gesture, right?
Yeah.
Second day I would have been like, what do you want from me? I don't know what you want, but I don't have it. Go away. And the third day I'd be like, did you roofie these? You keep trying to give me food. What do you want? Nah, I don't know.
I mean, see, it's funny because you're someone who loves to give people food. You love to take care of people, and you don't want anything back.
Yeah, but if you're on my list of the 10 or 12 people I like Sammy could call me up right now and be like, I need someone to pay my rent, and I'd be like, done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Send me the wire, and I'll wire it. Send me the information, I'll wire it there.
Yeah.
But anyone else, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what you want, but you can't have it.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. I love when people bring me food. It makes me really happy. I'm just like, food. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you gauge people, right? If some random person who I had, because I've talked to, Lizzie at, various cons before.
Yeah.
So it's it was, a total stranger, and they gave me, a already opened beverage or something like that.
I wouldn't let you drink
I'm not
that,
gonna, yeah, no, obviously, you gotta gauge people as best you can. But I'm just, I don't know. I feel like I just had so many awesome conversations with people, and I'm just like it always makes me so happy when people come back and they're like, I came by on Sunday last con and you were sold out of the thing that I wanted, so I made sure to come back on Friday.
Yeah.
And then even just the people who came by to just say hi again, all that kind of, I don't know, it's just
it's good vibes at anime conventions.
It's real good vibes.
Yeah. And
I forgot about something else.
I said the word vibes and it triggered you.
Yeah. So
That's not good.
I got no good vibes. I got interviewed by KCRA.
Oh,
the local news channel.
I saw them walking around.
Yeah. I got. I don't think I actually ended up on the news.
They cut so much stuff out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. But even just being interviewed, they just had a video camera there. But yeah,
there's a guy with a video camera. Look, he's like,
wait. People won't be able to hear you.
No, they can hear me. No.
All right. Dante's walking away.
They're walking around look at these nerds at this anime convention.
No, it was great. agree.
My son-in-law likes this junk, and that's why he's
Oh
weird.
my god,
I found the stash of furry stuff underneath his bed.
No, it was great. The guy with the camera was actually very sweet. He like asked, you know, a bunch of really nice questions. And oh god, I just thought of something else because I saw the rant. Sorry, I'm just like don't want to forget anything because there's so many good things. So another thing that was different this con is because I had more room, I was able to have like a proper wrapping station. So I brought my Ran Pack, the portable, what is it, the Ran Pack GME Wrap Pack EX.
Gamai?
Geami.
Wrap Pack.
EX. Yeah, it's like the little portable Ran Pack dispenser thing. So I brought that to the table, and holy balls, it made my life so much easier.
I bought the Ready Roll because Ran Pack sells like just the rolls.
Oh yeah.
And so,
I think Aaron of Dirty Panda Ceramics does that too.
Yeah, I brought that, and then I laid it out just like I would that, except for it's not on a spindle.
Yeah.
So I just put it on the table and like rolled it out myself, you know, and that was good enough for me. But like, I didn't have a lot of space. I was sharing the table with somebody, and
yeah, I know y'all were packed in. Like
they were packed in, and also like they kind of didn't have. It's not that they weren't ready, but like I got there and I was like, all right, how are you guys gonna heat the water? And they're like, oh, we gotta pay for electricity. And I was like, I have electricity, but it gives off like 4 or 5 amps.
Yeah.
And this thing takes 12 amps.
Right.
To heat water. So we have to pay for like $100 whatever dollars of electricity.
Yes.
So I think this year, right after the con, I had a conversation with T Cozy, and I was like, we gotta pay for electricity. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna bring my thing, and we'll bring a little stand, and I'll bring extra stuff. We'll bring this and this. We had a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And it was very obvious like what was missing. You know, for in the next 4 months. So
when things like that show up, do you normally like write them down anywhere, or like how do you keep track of the things that you got to do for like next time?
I'm more of an organization person than I am like a clean or remember person, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, I have Ran Pack Ready Roll. I bought 4 rolls, and my brain goes, that keeps me good for the next 2 tables. Okay. So I have 4 rolls in a box, and that box is for the con next time.
Yeah.
And then I have my Wi-Fi router, and that goes in the box, and that box is for the con. And then I have an extra battery pack, and that's in, you know, everything that I need is in that box.
Gotcha.
So next time I have a con like on the fly like this, I could go, everything's in that box. I'm gonna double check it the night before, you know, but I don't write anything down usually.
Okay.
And if I did, it's in a text.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll send you a text for the podcast.
Right.
It's very like, here's the stuff, and then I just look at that next time.
Gotcha.
But very rarely do I actually write anything down, because that's a paper trail. And I don't like those.
That's fair.
Not a fan of those.
Yeah.
That was kind of an explosion. Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, I got one. I'm sorry.
Tell me.
When I was not there on Sunday, the voice actor of Avatar The Last Airbender for Toph came by, and they gave them one of my teacups.
What?
I have a picture of it.
Oh my god, I want to see.
Where's my phone?
Dude, wait, your phone's on the sponge right there.
Is it?
Yeah.
You're a lifesaver. Okay, here.
Oh my god.
So I'm gonna show you right now. I will post this on Twitter and on Instagram.
Oh my god.
And on Patreon and all that.
Yeah.
So that everybody could see it.
Oh my gosh.
But the voice actor, and she has a little picture.
Oh my god. I still cannot believe that like this is the SacAnime where it was basically like an Avatar reunion.
There's the person who's helping me at the table.
That is amazing.
And that's the voice actor for Avatar The Last Airbender.
That's so freaking cool. Oh my god.
I know, right?
Oh my god.
She's the nicest one too. Like, the person at the table was like, that was the nicest one.
Oh.
So I've met Donte Bosco, and I've technically not met her, but she has a piece of my work now.
That's freaking awesome.
Which is good. That I didn't meet her, but also,
No, I wish you had. I wish you had gotten to meet her.
It's okay.
That would have been rad.
It wasn't in the cards. I went to work, and there was no one at work. It was such a slow day.
No,
there was a part of me that was like, why am I here?
Yeah. Do you think like next con you'll go ahead and take the whole weekend off, or?
Yeah, a lot of this isn't entirely true, but there's a portion of my job that has been crutching my work ethic for a long time. In the sense that, like, don't worry, Donte will take care of it. And now that I'm taking more days off and I'm doing more pottery stuff, I'm at home with the baby more. Yeah. People are just like, well, fries didn't get done on Friday. And I'm like, well, I wasn't here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So one of you nerds needs to do it. And they're like, but we don't do it as good. You can do like 4 bags in an hour. And it's like, that's like 100 pounds of potatoes. And we can't do it like you can do it. And I'm like, yeah, one of you's gonna have to take your time off, and, you know.
Yeah, because you're taking Thursday. What days do you have off now?
I now have Thursday off.
Okay.
And I've told the wife and the baby, I set the baby down, I said, listen here, baby. Daddy has to go do pottery stuff to make sure we have a nice cushion of money later on in life.
Yes.
So I have to go do that. And she go, okay, Dada. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because she has the ability to talk like that.
She does.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Magical baby.
Oh, yeah. She is too young to speak.
She is too young
She when I came in, she kind of goes, ah!
She goes, hi.
And then I explode.
She just learned how to say hi.
She's so freaking cute,
I
you
know,
guys.
I know.
Oh, my God.
None of you can see her.
I feel so lucky.
On the YouTube, but not real.
Oh, you put her in the YouTube?
I'm going to do a Dirty Potter challenge because I have to do one soon or else they're going to die on the Discord. There's a channel for the Dirty Potter challenge and everyone who experienced it is like, I remember before the COVID times when we had Dirty Potter challenge, and everyone who's new was like, what is this Dirty Potter challenge?
I know.
Yeah.
You should combine like Dirty Potter challenge with our Mud Peddlers homework.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah,
do we have more homework for them?
No, I was just trying to think, like, you know what? Okay. If you guys want more of that, because I know a couple of people did like do the handle thing. Yeah. So if y'all want more homework, you know, because obviously, you know, we're gonna share all the stuff that you guys share. Hashtag the Mud Peddlers. Tag Donte and I.
Can you guys make? Can I request a textured bowl?
What?
Can I request a textured bowl?
Yeah.
I see so many bowls that are so clean and just so regular, like bowl shaped.
Okay.
Can I get some texture in it?
Are we doing this homework too?
No.
I think we should also do this homework.
Oh, I'm not doing homework. I'm not doing,
yeah, okay.
I'm not doing homework. You're in our school. We're not in your school. I'm grading your homework. I'm not doing your homework.
Oh my gosh, I want to do all the things.
No, I have things to do. I have to grade. Oh, here's the teacher thing. I have to grade all the other teachers, all the other students' homework. So you do the homework.
Okay.
That one student's like, well, I have to do all the other teachers' work too, and not finger lines. That's cheating. Give me real texture.
Oh, okay. All right.
Call it finger lines texture.
Raised.
I knew you were gonna.
Texture.
Something.
Okay.
You could even do carved texture. I prefer carved texture, but there's a bowl behind you with carved texture. I prefer that over raised texture, but like I'm not gonna bat an eye at like non-raised texture. You know, I'm not gonna be. I only accept carved texture.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That actually reminds me. I am very much looking forward to doing like different themed mugs for my updates this year because it's like. I'm feeling a lot more confident about like my writing stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think it'll be interesting to see like next SacAnime, what I might do is for some of my pieces that have like backstories, I think it'd be cool to have like a display set up so that I could show like for like the shipwreck mugs that I did last like January, February.
I love those, yeah.
Dear listener, if you are not sure which ones I'm talking about, go to my Instagram, scroll to like last January. God, I need to actually update my website so I can show those new pieces. But anyway, so for that shipwreck series, and I wrote a poem to go along with that, and I think it'd be really cool to figure out if I can set up my display so that I can also show like the creative writing stuff behind the mugs that I do that are not like the fan art ones, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I got new design ideas. I want to do more stat mugs. I want to do a water stat mug. Like
did your stat mug sell well?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like I also had a lot more of the alignment mugs this time. So a lot of chaotic neutral out there, let me tell you. I'm just like, yeah, y'all a bunch of little chaos makers.
I'm wild, but I'm not that wild. I don't like to follow the rules, but like if I have to.
I think neutral evil is my favorite alignment for like different kinds of characters. Like, because if you're neutral evil, like you're basically just super selfish.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of fun to play because, you know, I'd like to think I'm not a particularly selfish person, so it's kind of fun to like figure out how to play that character vibe. Anyway, long story short.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, I want to come up with more, more designs, keep things interesting and different. I know there is a SacAnime Spring that's happening in Roseville. I did not sign up for that.
I'm not going to Roseville.
Yeah, no, we got too much other stuff going on in the spring. And
that's
like,
not happening.
I low-key also kind of don't want to like oversaturate too, like, because I feel like 3 cons with generally the same audience, like I feel like that's so I'm glad I have a decent amount of time between now and September, but I think I'm gonna make it like a standard thing to have, and again, we'll see how this turns out, but I think I'm gonna make it a standard thing to have SacAnime Winter have all of my seconds for that year.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of time for me to make a lot of inventory between SacAnime Summer and SacAnime Winter.
Yeah, it's like 4 months apart.
Yeah, it's really not a lot. And especially with like wanting to do a Halloween update and a holiday update, it's just like, that's kind of a lot.
That makes sense.
So I think that's something like, that was an experiment that I tried for this SacAnime that I want to repeat in the future. So it's good, man. It's been a lot of...
It was a good con.
Yeah.
It was a good experience for me to get back on the saddle, and I think it was amazing for Lindsey. You got good. You got like all the luck of God. For
oh my God,
I mean?
dude, for real. I'm like, I get to put money in savings, or at least more money in savings. So I always put a little away every month, but it's just like nice to be like, okay, cool. Like I'm probably gonna get to max out my Roth IRA this year. Like,
yes.
Hell yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So I don't know. Any other like last thoughts or things that you know?
No, but I do think we should. We've been talking about this for a long time, and we never do it. I'm just gonna make it a segment if that's okay with you.
Are you gonna say merch? Oh wait, oh no! You had your rant that you wanted to do. Why people are...
Y'all keep buying the wrong stuff.
Okay, all right, okay, hold on.
Listen to me.
All right, wait. Before we get started, I would just like to take a quick breather and just say thank you so much for joining us so far. Please stay and listen to what Donte has to say, even though I'm gonna fight him about it. But go ahead. All right.
Okay, so a bunch of people messaged me about the last, like the chemistry episode.
Okay.
And like 3 of them were like, wow, I didn't think anyone else knew about that. You can just use like 04 glaze in a regular cone 6 kiln and it works.
Yeah.
One person specifically was like, oh, you let the secret out. I've been using 04, I've been using low fire glazes and cone 6 kilns for a long time.
Oh my God.
And they've been working.
Oh my God.
She was like, I don't know about cone 10 to 6. I don't know if that's real, but she's like, yeah, like you weren't supposed to tell people.
Oh my God.
I will say though, there's a lot of things in that episode that I said incorrectly, but again, I'm not that good at English, and I am new at the chemistry thing, so please excuse me if I got anything wrong. I'm still gonna die on the hill of lithium carbonate being water soluble, so it's not really doing any real work for the first dip at
Oh my
least.
God.
And I did put out a blog about it with my research, and I posted my stuff.
All right.
I have proof this time.
Okay.
I'm not just saying stuff.
Okay, so yeah, good, and also good job shouting out your blog. Reminder, Donte does have a blog.
Yes.
So just know with the Mud Peddlers, like, there's some stuff that we're gonna share that is experiments, and they're kind of, it's not like declaring definitive things. It's kind of more sharing our process of learning and experimentation. And I think, as I can say, like, you know, I think for the both of us, we're gonna do our best to clarify when we are saying things that are, as far as we can tell, true, and when we're sharing something that's a part of our experience, and when we're sharing something that's a part of our, like, experimentation.
Like, I just took that class, so there's probably some things that I got wrong in there, but I've watched it 3 times already, so you know what I mean? I'm still learning just like you are. So if there's some expert stroking themselves off in the crowd,
oh my God,
please don't bust it too quick to my incorrect words.
God.
They're like, oh, he was wrong. Oh, it makes me so happy when he's wrong.
Oh my God. You know what? I'm not gonna kink shame.
My favorite are the technical wrong people. They're like, he said viscosity instead of viscosity. Oh, he's wrong!
Oh my God.
He's wrong on a technicality.
You know, I know I just asked everybody to stay, but if this is too much, just go. No, don't
okay,
go.
But
so what was the other thing
down
that
to
you
the
wanted
real,
to... Okay.
Here, listen. I put so much work into my glazes, and I think what happens is, from my point of view, and maybe for you as well, is that we have glazes that are a bit more finicky. So when they come out better or special, we're like, wow, that's more rare.
Yeah.
The happenstance of it coming out better is more rare at coming at all than the other glazes that are like pretty standard.
Yeah.
So when a lot of people gravitate towards like the most standard thing, I'm like, oh, no one's buying the one that takes more work and like better chances to come out well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no one's buying my oxidation red, and it took me a long time to develop a glaze that I have to hold it for an hour, and go ahead, buy your stupid blue mug.
You know what might help with that? Talking to people.
No! No!
You know, maybe saying like, oh yeah, you know, do you want it, like, if someone's been sitting at your table for a little bit, just saying, hey, you want to hear a cool story about this mug?
But then I gotta like, oh,
then you gotta talk. Okay, now, and
it's better.
And I admit, okay,
it's like advertising.
It's totally my own bias. I admit,
it's my bias too.
Well, yeah, well, like, you're right. We both have our own biases towards things, but that is a situation where I would say. It's like, because people aren't gonna know.
They don't know.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
And it's irrational for us to expect them to know.
I agree. 100%. It's like, why would you know?
Yeah.
The amount, out of the 5 people in this town that make their own glaze, probably, and out of those 5, the amount of people who are like, I have this one recipe that I made myself.
Yeah.
It's, nobody knows, you know? But like, I don't know. Like, somebody picks up a mug, and I'm like, you want that one?
So judgy, Donte.
I'm super
judgy.
I'm like, ugh. And I'm the one who made it. That's the crazy thing.
God,
I'm like, ew, you want that one?
Oh my god.
I'm like, you could have this one. It's cheaper and better.
Oh
There was one person that actually took I was so happy.
Yeah.
Because she picked up 2, and she was like, which one would you buy? And I was like, thank you for asking me. I was like, that one is more standard, but that one is the colors are more rare. Like, that one's bigger, and for you, who is a person, you might think like, oh, this is better because it's bigger, but realistically, that's on a better clay body. It's a little thicker, it's better balanced, and that color doesn't usually come out in that way. And she was like, okay, I'll get this one then. And I was like, oh, thank you. The other one was just green.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, well, the green is, I did make the green myself. Like,
Yeah.
it is a variation of someone else's development, so I had to play with it a bit to develop it myself, but I was like, that's easier to get than the other one in your hand.
Yeah.
It's just more rare. And she's like, okay, I'll get it. You know?
See, that makes me think of like the different, or the sometimes like weird way that people, not weird, but like the interesting way that people approach art. Because like, I think, again, particularly like less so with the kind of art that we make, but more so like the like high end, you know, thousand, like in the gallery type of art. Yeah. It's like people often don't have or they'll say like, oh, I don't really get art, I don't really know art, I don't really, and it's just like, it doesn't have to be about that. It's just like, what do you like? Because, you know, if you ask somebody what kind of music they like, people probably have an opinion, but a lot of people don't have an opinion about art because they think, oh, I don't understand enough about art to get it. And it's like, you can not understand something about art and still enjoy the art, or not enjoy the art. Like, you don't have to like this thing just because it's hanging in a famous gallery, you know?
Yeah.
And that kind of makes me think of like the different things that people value when they're buying art, because there's going to be people who, you know, kind of like what you're saying, they see the glaze they like and they go, I like that glaze, I want that cup.
Yes.
And there are other people who, you know, yes, maybe they still like this glaze, but they're more interested in the story behind the piece. They're more interested in like, oh, is this rare? You know, and it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of interesting to think about like why people, like where people place value in the art that they're bringing into their homes.
Well, I think, I want to say you're right, and on top of that, it kind of breaks my own rule, because my general rule about the way we process art as a society is it doesn't have to be important, it doesn't have to be special, it just has to make you feel something. The real way that you teach what I'm going to say beginner to process art is in how it makes them feel. And it's difficult because some people are not in tune with their feelings, but if you can get to that space, that's like the bare minimum of how you personally kind of interpret art. And I'm going the opposite way, which is not good, because I'm like, here are the technicalities about this, and the technicalities are more rare than those ones. But really, if you think that green is pretty and it makes you feel good, buy it. You're wrong, but buy it.
I think both are valid though, because like, again, bringing it to like the capital A art world gallery type of thing, I have experienced pieces of art that when I look at it just on its own, I'm like, I don't get it. Like,
that's a golden banana.
Yeah, it's like, I just like, it doesn't make me feel anything.
Yeah.
But when I learn about the concepts behind it and the artist's intention behind the piece, then I go, oh, then it does make me feel something.
Right.
So, and I value it differently. So I think for like you, with potentially wanting to talk to people more about the rarity, or share at least, not necessarily talking with people, but whether it's on your blog or social media or whatever, like sharing the rarity behind your pieces, I think that's okay too, because sometimes more information will help us get over that bridge of not connecting with a piece to connecting with a piece.
That's fair. They don't have the information I have.
Right.
So they don't, like, for me to be like, you don't know half the story. It's realistically, they don't know half the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not going to know unless we, you know, talk to them about it.
I don't know about that part. I don't.
Okay. All right. A little too
One
far.
step at a time.
A little bridge too far.
One step at a time. It's there. I would like to propose a segment I like to call the plug.
Oh.
We need to tell people if we have a next store update, when it'll be.
Yes.
We need to tell people the next table we will be at.
Ooh, okay.
And we also need to tell people any updates we just had.
Well, all right. Let's do
you do yours first.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So my next store update is most likely going to be early February, because I am still waiting to be scheduled for a surgery to have my tubes tied, because I'm not about that procreation.
I'm not here to make your soldiers America.
Yeah. Ooh, that's some deep.
That's deep right
yes,
there.
Yes. So if that happens in January, that'll push that out a little bit. So it should be around February, and I think what I'm going to do is make a Dragon Egg update.
Okay.
Because I did not have time to make them for SacAnime, or it's like, I could have made them, but I was kind of already like getting burnt out, and I was like, if I'm gonna have energy for this con, I gotta stop somewhere.
Of course.
So so I think I'm gonna do a Dragon Egg update beginning like late January, early February. I'm also gonna be working on, or very soon, the registration for Ceramicon is happening. So again, I'll provide links in the show notes. But again, my topic is gonna be how to prepare to sell at your first in-person event and talk about your art. And Donte, your topic is?
My topic is how to put a glaze together. You don't have to know any of the chemistry. I am very new and learning it still. So please excuse me.
Well, then you know enough to teach a class.
I know
enough to
Yeah, I know enough to teach a class, and I also know enough to be like, this is a specific gravity, and there's a difference between that and viscosity, and you want to use this kind of chemical with this, and this is a clean, like, I know enough.
Yeah. And for Ceramicon, like, you not only get access to our 2 classes, you get access to everybody's classes. And if you haven't checked out the topics yet, I'm going to link in the show notes. So if you are curious about Ceramicon, you can browse, see what other artists are teaching their topics, and it's pretty cool. So that's kind of my lineup for the next like month or so.
Okay. And
what about you?
My lineup is that I'm going to a place in Sacramento called IMCO, International Mineral Company, where I'm probably going to start teaching classes in person, probably at the beginning of March. I'm going to send him my syllabus, quote unquote, and get all the papers finalized at the beginning of February, which today is the day where I'm like, most of my work's going to be on that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be teaching classes pretty soon at IMCO.
Super exciting, dude.
I'm very excited about it. I'm also going to have my next store update somewhere mid-March. It's not going to be large because I'm saving most of my products for SacAnime, which I will be at SacAnime Summer. And right before that, Lindsey and I will both be at NCECA. Yes, on a podcasters panel.
So excited.
Also, we got invited by Tim C to like another Potter party.
I know, I'm so excited.
We feel like cool kids. I'm like, oh, we're getting invited to Potter parties.
I want to go to a Potter party.
He said it was like a shot glass exchange.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I don't really drink alcohol.
I mean, you can drink juice. We're little, like, non-alcoholic shooters.
Yeah, part of me kind of wants to just make just a smaller teacup, huh?
It's like a little micro teacup.
Yeah, okay. I'll do something. Yeah. And then that is where I will be and Lindsey will be as far as, like, the middle of the year. That's all of it.
Yeah.
Other than that, we live online.
All right. I say we have taken up their time, our dear listeners' time. Thank you so much. We'll see you later.
Bye.
And that's it for today. Thank you for listening to The Mud Peddlers with Lindsey M Dillon
and Donte of Earth Nation.
Want to say hi and see what Donte and I are working on in our studios? Check out the show notes for links to our websites and social media below. You can find me at lindseymdillon.com. That's LINDSEY, M as in monster, DILLON.com, and on Etsy, Instagram, and Facebook at Lindsey M Dillon.
And you can find me at Earth Nation Ceramics. It's spelled exactly how you think it's spelled, but you can also find me on my Facebook fan page and Instagram at the same name at Earth Nation Ceramics.
If you enjoyed hanging out with us today, or you have a question or topic you'd like us to discuss, take a second to rate and review The Mud Peddlers in Apple Podcasts. It helps our podcast reach new listeners, and we really appreciate the feedback. Thanks again, and we'll catch you next time.